Hi, and thank you for purchasing this tennis beginner's video guide. I would like to acknowledge some people who helped me with the making of these videos. Hi, and welcome to the forehand lesson for tennis beginners. Forehand is usually the easiest stroke to start with. That's because most people are quite comfortable with doing things on the right side of the body if they're right-handers, and not so comfortable with doing things on the left side of the body. You will also learn how to play a forehand from a short court, playing mini tennis. That way you will develop feel and timing much quicker. Let's start. We will start with the contact point first. Contact point needs to be in front of your body. And contact point also determines your grip. So, one of the easiest ways to find the correct grip is just pretend that you would hit the ball with the palm of your hand, and then just put the racket inside your hand. But before you start playing, you need to get ready. Ready means having a ready position and moving. So either you want to move from leg to leg, or like this, or whatever you want to do, you need to keep moving. And then just put the racket in the contact point and play. So moving, contact point, and back to ready position. What is your goal? Your goal is to play in the service box. So you have two goals at the beginning. Put the racket in the contact point, don't make any big backswings, and see if you can play in the service box. When you're starting to learn how to play tennis, it's important to develop feel, not just technique. And the best way is just to play the ball in a certain area, in our case, the service box. So again, put the racket in the contact point, keep moving, and see if you can bump the ball in the service box. You don't need a big backswing for that. In fact, it's going to be quite difficult to play a ball so short and make a big backswing. So just put the racket in the contact point and see if you can bump it in the service box. Another highly recommended training aid is try and find a soft ball like this. This one is actually made by ITF, and it's very soft and it doesn't bounce so much, so it will help you play short tennis like this much easier and much quicker. You can find these balls also Wilson and Babolat and Penn probably, so try and find a soft ball and play with the soft ball for a while, and that will help you be much more successful when you start. Next thing that we need to add to your forehand is a follow-through. A good forehand follow-through at the beginning is just to catch the racket over your left shoulder. Catching with your left hand helps you find this spot and also prevents you from playing like this. So you play the same. Put the racket in the contact point and then see if you can find follow-through over your left shoulder. Remember, you still have two objectives. One is to find the follow-through, and the other is to play the target, which is a service box on the other side. So remember that. One more thing about the follow-through is, later the follow-through will adapt, depending on what kind of the ball you will play. Maybe you will play a short cross-court, and your follow-through will look like this, or you will play a topspin lob, and your follow-through will look like this. But for a beginner, just remember this position. So from a contact point, catch the racket over your left shoulder. The most important part of beginner's footwork is a split step. What's a split step? It's a little hop, and you split your feet wide, and that helps you push in any direction that you need to go when you see the ball going. So it looks like this. Up, and then you go, and you move if you need to. The important thing about split step is to time it correctly. So you need to land on the ground just when you realize where the ball is going. So see if you can split and time the split step correctly, and then go to the ball. After learning split step, you need to know how to position yourself for a good hit, and you need to become aware of two footwork patterns. One is open stance and one is closed stance. So there is no need to force your feet into any special pattern now. Just try to become aware that sometimes you play a closed stance and sometimes you play an open stance. A closed stance would mean that for right-handers, the right foot is positioned behind the left foot, and open stances, they are parallel. Try to avoid the over-closed stance, because then your hips cannot rotate. So still playing on short court, just become aware of maybe two footwork patterns and see how they feel. Don't force yourself into any of these patterns. Just try to be aware when you play a closed or an open stance. After you've been playing a while from the short court, it's good to increase distance to about 3/4 distance. Don't go back to the baseline yet. It's good to play from this distance for a while to judge the ball and get the feel. When you play from here, you will need to hit the ball a little harder. So that means you need to swing a little more. Now, important thing here is that you don't put your arm back, but turn your body, and that way you will prepare for the shot and your arm will go back. So it looks like this. You just rotate more, and then see if you can also feel the turning into the ball. The simplest way is, when you start from the ready position, is just to turn your body, don't change anything. And keep your left hand on the racket, because that will help you rotate your shoulders. If you find this a little difficult to time the ball, then one of the options is to just prepare like this, the racket in the same level as the incoming ball, but later it's better to keep the racket head up, which will help you to accelerate into the ball. Maybe one more thing, one of the common mistakes here is that when players see the racket head up, they think the arm goes up, but in fact the arm stays as the same as if you were going back in a linear way, except now your wrist holds the racket up, and that will help you accelerate. So turn your body, and remember you're now playing to about the service line, so keep the target in mind. Don't forget, tennis is about playing, it's not technique. So see if you can play to the target, and then your backswing or your preparation will happen automatically.